say that is the main foundation. So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will.
Yes, forget all your differences and let we start the building process. We need nation builders at this point in time in our history. We need to transform this place, and we are calling on all Grenadians and also those who love Grenada, because there are non-Grenadians who came to Grenada and fell in love with Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and they would love to help too, to transform this place, to build this place. So again, we're calling on them to come forward. My name is Kem Jones, and again, it's a pleasure for me to be on that journey with you, where we can learn together, where we can know more. I want to encourage those on Facebook and YouTube to please share the live. Sharing is caring. I want to start off by saying we tend to forget good things quickly. I started that conversation yesterday because even in a little relationship or a group that you are in, something good would happen. And maybe a day or two, we would celebrate it or talk about it. But after that, it's gone in the wind. You don't talk about it anymore. But let one bad thing happen, just one negative thing, one bad thing. You will remember that for decades. You will hold that in your craw for decades, for a lot of years. And that is human beings generally. In Grenada, we have a history of forgetting good things, forgetting good things quite quickly. We have a history of that. And it dawned on me that the government did a number of things that I don't hear people talking about. You remember this? You remember the whole issue of Camahon Park? You remember the Save the Camahon Park campaign, when you had Grenadians coming together to fight the NNP administration attempt to sell the park? Because the NNP administration intended to sell the park because there was 5 acres of land adjacent to the park that some developer wanted to build a hotel on. And it was stated that this 5 acres was not enough, and they would give the developer that additional 5 acres or so of Camahon Park. And this committee was formed, and it was a big thing. And then the NDC came into power, and we heard this.
I would use the term get back in inverted commas, because the negotiations are amicable. And I think the lessee recognizes what we want to achieve. So there's a site called the Rivera site, which is located immediately next to the Camahon Park. It's 5 acres of land. So if you're on Wall Street, you can see currently it's in vegetation. That land was leased by the former administration to a business person, a developer. And we've asked that person to surrender the lease to the government because we want to be in a position to combine the Camahon Park and the Rivera site and to create a national park that essentially will become known as National Heroes Park, which allows Grenadians to have open, wider green space on Grandlands Beach. And that ensures that future generations of Grenadians have open, uninhibited access to a major green space on Grandlands Beach forever and ever and ever.
Right. So that announcement came and a lot of people were happy because for years we were fighting a battle with the NNP administration because they wanted to sell the park and they could care less about that. So that was a major, major achievement. The NDC administration was able to get that park, and it was through negotiation. Don't fool yourself. It was through negotiation. So we saw the signing of that deal at Kiwana Bay Resort. Because remember, there was this dispute, and that again is another big achievement, where the NNP administration was dragged to court by the developers of the Kiwana Bay Resort. And we were down to losing that case and having to pay the developers $100 and something million. A lot of money. Just as Grenlec, the WRB matter that was dragged to the same international court for settlement of disputes and so on, this arm of the World Bank. So we were able to save that. And as a result, the settlement was made with the developers for the Kiwana Bay Resort. We got the lands there back. The lands there, we got it back. And the property is in the hands of the government of Grenada.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have an announcement to make. As much as we are celebrating the commissioning of the Silver Sands Beach House, we did announce that we have been in negotiations, discussions with Naguib and his team regarding the Kiwana Bay site. And I'm very happy to announce tonight that you will witness the signing by Her Excellency the Governor General Dame Cecile La Grenade of the lease of the Kiwana Bay site to Naguib's development company so that we can complete the development of the Kiwana Bay site. And in true partnership, while we're having the lease of the Kiwana Bay site signed tonight, we're also having the surrender of the Rivera beach site on Grandlands Beach, which we've declared will become a national park to join the Camahon Park so that we have the necessary green space on Grandlands Beach so that the young, the old, and the in-between can enjoy more green spaces on Grandlands Beach. So I want to first of all thank Her Excellency for accommodating us tonight. I'm sure this is kind of not the usual manner in which she signs a document, but a little change. Past her bedtime, she said, so I'm very, very grateful for her accommodating us tonight. I want to thank Naguib for permitting us to have the Governor General sign the lease here tonight. So I will invite Her Excellency Dame Cecile La Grenade to sign the lease, and then after that, the surrender has been signed for the Rivera site first. Who's signing?
Right. So that was our beloved Prime Minister there announcing that the Rivera site close to Camahon Park, Naguib and his team, they surrendered that lease, that piece of property, all right, which was really great. So we got an extension on Kamahon Park, and it will be called Heroes Park. So that is wonderful, and it was a really good announcement. But many people forget that, all right? The Save the Kamahon Park campaign, and we were able to get this 5 acres of land to make it bigger. Work is still being done there. Realize they remove the trees and other things like that, the vegetation. It's a lot of work to get it to where it's supposed to be. But at least we got the lands back. And it's in the hands of the government of Grenada. That is what is important. And also where Kiwana Bay Resort sits, that too, we got the lands there back too, because of proper negotiation. So that is another one. Then the settlement.
The government of Grenada and a group of U.S. investors that had been working through True Blue Development to build the Kawana Bay Resort near Grandins Beach have jointly announced the resolution of a dispute that had been under arbitration since 2021 before the World Bank's International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell led efforts to reach an amicable outcome to the impasse, which had halted construction of the five-star resort 2 years ago under a prior government. As a result of the agreement, the Grenada government will assume ownership of the Kawana Bay project and property and seek a new developer to complete the project, which had already reached an advanced stage before the dispute arose. In accordance with Grenadian law, owners and investors of Kimpton Kawana Bay will be entitled to seek compensation from the government of Grenada for the compulsory acquisition of the property. Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, said, and I quote, "The government of Grenada desires a fair and equitable resolution with all owners and committed purchasers at Kimpton Kawana Bay whose citizenship status in Grenada is unaffected by this negotiated agreement. In fact, the citizenship by investment program remains active and strong, and we anticipate its continued contributions to the Grenada economy and our people," unquote. True.
Right. So that property, we were able to settle the dispute, because remember, the dispute started with Keith Mitchell and the NNP and them, right? The NNP administration, they had the issue with the developers, and that matter was brought to the International Court for settlement of investment disputes. And we were down to losing that particular case. Just as WRB, we lost that case and we had to pay a lot of millions and millions of dollars. So the NDC administration was able to come in and settle that dispute. And we got the lands back, the properties in our name. It belongs to government of people of Grenada for now. I think some agreement was signed. Well, not for now. Some agreement was signed. I think they signed some agreement with some developers, and that project should get on its way very soon. All right. But again, it was settled. We got back the lands and that kind of stuff. These were big wins for the NDC. But you don't hear people talking about that anymore, because it was only in the tenure of the NDC, and people tend to forget things quite quickly. All right. Even the passport being the years on the passport increasing from 5 years to 10 years. That again is a very important thing. St. Lucia is now going to do that. They are now doing that. Grenada led. And they are following, because a US visa is 10 years. A Canadian visa, they'll give you up to 10 years, right? Why the passport should be 5 years? It just doesn't make sense. So that again was a big achievement. You don't hear people talk about that as before.
The Immigration and Passport Office has confirmed that printing of passports with a 10-year lifespan has begun. The government of Grenada recently amended the passport bill, giving the Grenadian passport a validity of 10 years to individuals 18 and over. Head of the Immigration and Passport Office, Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP Elian Purcell, updated the GIS on Monday. The department, he says, began receiving applications last week. He provided details on what's currently happening at the Passport Office.
Today we have started actually printing the passport that are valid for an extended 10-year period. However, we started taking applications from last week. We have extended the waiting period for that passport by 5 days. So it's 5 business days for that particular, because of the volume of the intake. And we were not able to process due to the hurricane. And we had a delay as well because of the hurricane in actually deploying the upgraded software to be able to process the passport. So today we have worked along with the developers of the system, and we are able to successfully deploy the system or the upgrade to the system, and we have printed the first set of passports today.
ASP Purcell said they have plans going forward, which is to keep the 5-day extended period until they are able to work on the applications that were made earlier.
Going forward, we would want to keep the extended period of 5 days until we are able to resolve all of the backlog or those that have been waiting, because we have taken in a substantial amount of applications. So we want to knock them out, and then we'll come current again, where we'll be issuing in 3 business days, as we are accustomed to.
The Immigration and Passport Office, he says, will continue to provide exceptional service to the country and ensure a smooth flow during the process.
There is an additional security feature to the extended life of the passport, and also internally on the document itself, we have made some security changes too. We have not seen any foreseeable major challenges as it relates to our processes. Our internal processes remains very robust, mindful of security, and we want to assure the public that we'll continue to produce a very high quality passport for the state of Grenada, and we'll take all precautions to guarantee the safety of the Grenada passport.
Yes, so that was ASP Purcell there. They're doing a fantastic job at the immigration department. All right, all immigration workers, well, they're police officers, but you know, that department, immigration department, they're very efficient, very effective there. I can tell you that. So that's a big thing. And if you speak to people who travel, they know about the inconvenience to attach that old passport to their visa. All right. So the old one with the new one. So they have 2, because the visa is 10 years and the passport is 5. So certainly it will expire. The passport will expire before the visa expires. And as a result, you have to carry your old passport and the new one. But now that process with the 10 years will make things easier for travelers. So when you go for your US visa and they give you 10 years, the passport will reflect 10 years. All right? So it will expire together with the visa. And then you will have to renew your passport and renew your visa. And that is better, because if you know about the Canadian visa, they tend to give you the amount of years based on your passport. Many people will know about it. So if you have a 10 years passport, you can get 10 years. But if you have 5 years, they won't give you 5 years. So again, it's a good move. But I'm not hearing a lot of people talking about it because it happened. And if you don't repeat these things, if you don't refresh the memory of people, they will just forget about it. The license upgrade also, that is a big thing. A lot of young people are happy with the license upgrade. A lot of young people are happy about it.
Mr. Speaker, the aim of the is pretty straightforward. It addresses the opportunity for persons who hold, in effect, a B class, a C class, or C1 class license to be able to upgrade their license without sitting an exam by moving from B to D class, or from C to D class, or from C1 to D class, if they have driven for more than 5 years in that particular class, and if they deem medically fit to continue driving. You know, the B, the C, the C1 and the D class licenses, Mr. Speaker, obviously associated with the type of vehicle that one is permitted to drive. And to a large extent, that's what the D class license is. I'm saying by description of vehicle, a pickup truck, but the proper description based on the Road Traffic Act will see a vehicle that is 7,000 kgs and on. Mr. Speaker, what we find is a situation where, you know, small business owners who are electricians or plumbers or farmers find themselves where the employees have a private B-class license. They can drive a car, they can drive an SUV, but they can't drive a pickup to drop them in or to drop equipment. And in many instances, the owner himself oftentimes has to be the driver, which takes away from his ability to actually do his own management of the work. And so oftentimes what you find is that the owner or manager's driver, the person with the class license, has to find himself driving a pickup to drop the person who actually can drive. So the challenge, Mr. Speaker, is that should have given young persons the opportunity to be able to get a D-class license. If we did not remove the limitation on the age from 25, Mr. Speaker, what it would mean is that at 23, if you got your license at 18 and at 23 you've been driving for 5 years, you're still disqualified because you're not 25.
Right. So that was our beloved Prime Minister there speaking about the license upgrade. And a lot of people are taking advantage of that because that was a hindrance. It was hindering a lot of people from you know, just doing their work and making sure that their business continue. Because there are people who can drive those little pickups, but because they don't have the type of license, then that was a problem, and they have to go back and resit some exam and then go on the road and do X, Y, and Z. But after 5 years, you can actually pay and upgrade your license.
Head of the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force, ASP Randall Batiste, says the department has received more than 1,700 applications as the government's initiative to upgrade to D-class license begins. An individual wishing to upgrade must hold a B, C, or C1 license for a minimum of 5 years and be medically fit to be in charge of a motor vehicle. Those who met the criteria are required to complete and submit an application form either online at www.finance.gd or in person at the RGPF traffic headquarters on the Carnage. An upgrade fee of $30 must be paid to complete the process, and the first payment for the upgraded license must be done in person. Subsequent renewals and payments can be made online.
I arrived at the department just about 10 to 8, and I met more than 50 persons in the yard waiting to commence the process. All right, so the process has since started, and we have in excess of over 1,600 applicants thus far. As you know, we have two means of persons applying. That's on the online platform, Ministry of Finance platform, and persons walking in to apply. We have close to 1,200 applicants online, and we have close to 500 applicants in terms of persons walking in. You may ask about Carrico. The update we have from Carrico thus far, about 30 persons will have applied.
ASP Batiste explained the process involved and outlined the point at which money should be paid at the Inland Revenue Division.
It starts off with persons doing the application. The application will be verified to ensure that the applicant meets the criteria, and once that is done, then it will be approved by me and forwarded to the Inland Revenue Department, to the police officers at Inland Revenue Department, who in turn will reach out to the applicant via a phone call, informing him or her of their application being approved. After that, they will have to go into Inland Revenue now to process the upgrade. At that stage is where the necessary payments will be made in terms of the upgrade fee of $30 and the license fee for the Class D license. And the fee will be varied based on your date of birth, because you know our expiry date to our driver's license is based on person's date of birth. So that fee will be varied and will be determined by the Inland Revenue Department.
The initial release issued to the general public on April 28th indicated that prospective applicants should produce a medical certificate that he or she is fit to drive a motor vehicle, but this has since been updated.
One of the criteria in the release that was sent out stated for an applicant to produce a medical certificate. However, we have made some changes as it relates to that. So it is not mandatory for an applicant to produce a medical certificate. As it stands now, all you need to do is to produce the application form, fill out the application form and submit it. And upon review, a determination will be made if there is a need for the applicant to submit a medical certificate.
This driver's license upgrade exercise is being conducted pursuant to the passing of the Road Traffic Amendment Act No. 1 of 2024 and the Road Traffic Extension of Driving License Classes Order SRO No. 6 of 2024. The standard processing time for an application is 3 working days.
Right, so that's good. That's a big move also. But I'm not hearing a lot about it because, see, those things, you can easily forget it. You can forget that before it was not the case, meaning you had to go and sit an exam, you had to go and drive again, and all of that. But with this move by government, you don't have to. All you need to do is to apply. After 5 years, you've been on the road 5 years or more, you apply and you get your upgrade. All right? Same thing with the passport. You could forget that before it was 5 years, they would issue you a passport that would expire in 5 years. Now they're issuing a passport that will expire in 10 years, and you're paying very little for it. All right? People could forget those things easily. But I want you to remember those things, because as you go deeper into the term of the NDC, more things will happen and some things will get lost along the way. So you have to kind of refresh your memory every now and again. Every now and again. So the Camaron Park expansion, that's a big thing for people who love to go on the beach or who just love a green space to enjoy. All right? The land where Radisson sits, the Radisson Hotel. Remember, the NNP administration gave that to some Grand Prix race driver or something like that, right? As a gift to promote Grenada. We didn't get any promotion or any big set of promotion from this individual. The government, the NDC administration, was able to get back the land, get back that prime piece of property. They paid, I think, $5 million US, and then they got back the land because they challenged the owners. This is Crown land, right? So they got back that, and then the piece on where Kawana Bay Resort sits, that too, they got back that land. Because remember, that land was given to the developers. So these things are significant. They are significant. And if you ask people who know what they had to go through as Grenadians to access the beach from those angles or places, they will tell you. Remember, there was a big issue with the Flamboyant Hotel and also Kawana Bay Resort in terms of access. So it's not easy. It's not easy. It was never easy. So it's important to note all those things and remind people about those things because we can quickly forget it. We can quickly forget it. The Sagazam seaweed. You hear them NNP and them talking now about it. All right? Sagazam. As though they get in an orgasm. And you wonder because, remember, this whole thing did not start under the NDC. But the NDC is trying to come to some place to resolve the thing, to control the thing, to turn this waste into resources. All right? So they've started the process. They got some boats from Japan, and those NNP already started criticizing it as though they could buy it or get it. All right? For the government and the people of Grenada. So firstly, we got some boats from Japan, and that to me is a good move, a very good move. A number of boats from Japan, 5 I think. A number of vessels, 5 vessels.
The Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority is now in possession of 5 vessels from the Japan International Cooperation Agency as it moves ahead with plans for the commercial collection of Sargassum seaweed. This information was disclosed by Communications Officer Myrna Julian as she shared with members of the media their plans to maximize on the potential of the economic viability of the seaweed, which is no longer looked at as waste for the authority.
And these vessels are designed to assist with the deployment of oil booms for the trapping of the Sargassum seaweed before it makes landfall, and for the collection of the Sargassum seaweed within the oil booms.
Julian says while they have not yet commenced the deployment of the vessels to do commercial collection, training of individuals to use the vessels is ongoing.
We have done some trials. The team from Japan International Cooperation Agency, they have been here on island to conduct training with staff of the Solid Waste Authority, some residents from the affected areas, as well as then the Department of Fisheries, now the Department of Marine Resources. And so we are hoping with that partnership and the deployment of these vessels that we have done some captures so far, we would be able to collect the sargassum, and we have been collecting, transporting to the storage facilities.
The intention of the authority, Julian says, is to facilitate business by capturing and providing adequate storage of the sargassum seaweed.
We are facilitating the research ongoing. There are quite a number of institutions, mainly European institutions, that have been in contact with us, the authority, and I must say that these are ongoing to determine how best they can help in addressing the issue of sargassum seaweed and its contribution to a number of issues here in Grenada. And we believe that there are good prospects for a number of businesses to emerge out of this. And as Ambassador Eno mentioned, we do hope that in due course, once we sign on to the BBNJ protocol, that the marine resource of sargassum seaweed would be included as one of the resources that we'd be able to benefit. We can see where our boundary is.
The overall objective is to create the enabling environment for discussions with institutions and business entities which are interested in developing businesses out of the waste.
Yeah, so sargassum seaweed is not just unique to Grenada. For those who have not traveled, nearly all the Caribbean islands are affected by that, and even parts of the United States, and I'm certain other places too. South America, Latin America, all those different places. They too are affected by the sargassum seaweed. But those NNP supporters, they're getting an orgasm over the sargassum seaweed. And we wish...
I don't have an answer for that.
Right. Siri, not you. Not you, Siri. The NNP, not you. All right, Siri? Nice. So Siri says she doesn't have an answer for that. So those NNP supporters, they're getting an orgasm over the sargassum seaweed. And I hope they come out of that hype and out of that climax that they're having, because they believe the NDC created this problem. That is what they believe. And they believe the NDC should fix it. In fact, one NNP, Jagabat, this morning called a particular program saying that the Prime Minister, our beloved Prime Minister, should get nets and get this and fix it and clean it and do all kinds of stuff. NNP been there for 23 years and a half, and sargassum seaweed was affecting these same people and in the same areas. And it could be even worse. But they didn't say that he could or should clean it or fix it. But they believe that the most honorable Deacon Mitchell should fix it. That's what they believe. They believe that he could fix anything and everything in this place. He's the magic man. And the NDC could fix everything. But this thing been there long. The issue of sargassum had been there for years. So now it's more rampant or prevalent in nearly all the islands. So they're doing stuff. They're doing things about it. And I'm happy to see that. It will take a lot of effort. It will take a lot of time. A lot of research. But I love it. What they are doing, it is good.
The Grenada Solid Waste Management Authority is taking the necessary steps to aid in the removal of beach sargassum. Grenada has over the past few months seen a heavy influx of the seaweed on the eastern side of the island. Communications Officer at the Solid Waste Management Authority, Myrna Julian, during Wednesday's Ministry of Blue Economy and Marine Affairs press conference, shared an overview of the current operations employed by the authority to the cleanup efforts.
We have been putting measures in place to facilitate those industries that were spoken about by Ambassador Eno, who have expressed interest in the area of using sargassum for energy production in the cosmetic industry, etc., and as alternative energy sources. So for us at the Solid Waste Authority, currently what we are doing is the deployment of teams to areas that are affected by the presence of sargassum on the eastern side of the island, mainly in St. Andrews, where there is the pungent or unpleasant odor emerging from the settling of sargassum. We are happy that we are not seeing any great levels of eutrophication and fish kill as we are seeing in the Wester Hall area.
The presence of the gas emanating from the beached sargassum has been contributing to a number of issues that are of health concerns for the residents of the areas.
The complaints, I must say, they have reduced in terms of residents from the affected area. We started off with just 10 workers, and we are now, because we are deploying teams, we now have 30 workers employed per day to remove the beached sargassum from the affected areas. We cannot do the whole of the eastern coastline, and when you look at the quantities that are there, it is too much for any one country, I believe, to handle. But we are focusing our attention on the Grenville area, Sobeys area.
The Solid Waste Management Authority has employed teams on a shift basis to ensure the removal of as much of the sargassum as possible.
We have teams which work very early to remove any sargassum seaweed that would have entered those systems. And during the daytime, from about 8 o'clock to mid-afternoon, we have the teams that are engaged in the removal of the beached sargassum, and it's taken by transport to a facility, and thanks to government for affording us that opportunity to use an area at Maribo for the disposal of the sargassum seaweed. The authority, we are developing some green points throughout Grenada, so we are establishing these locations for the management of organic waste. And whereas in the past we used the Old Pearls airstrip, we have since discontinued using that area, and for the dry sargassum we deposit at our facility at Telescope.
Julian says due to the high volume of the sargassum seaweed, the authority is now committing to dispose of it at its government-approved Maribo facility.
Yeah, so anybody with common sense would know it would take a lot of resources to clean that thing up, because you clean it today and in the next day or so, more comes. So I'm happy to hear that they're up to about 30 people working around the clock on a daily basis to clean the beaches, to clean some of the areas badly affected. Because I see in some instances they have to use machines to get rid of the sargassum seaweed. So the NNP supporters, they're out there. They're out there talking. They're talking. All right? They have all kinds of stuff to say about the government. But I am saying to you, the NNP was in power. What did they do about the sargassum seaweed? It was wrong for years. For years. So the NDC is trying to find solutions to the problem. It can't be fixed overnight. Can't be fixed overnight. But they're trying their best. It would be nice to see some of these same NNP supporters join for free, go on these beaches for free, because they're so concerned, get their buckets, get their rakes, their forks or whatever, their spade or whatever, and go on those beaches and start cleaning up. But they would not do that. They have no interest in doing that. But they're going to open their mouth. They're going to criticize the government. They're going to accuse the government of X, Y, and Z. And they would not recognize that the government is actually trying to clean this thing up. But you check out the other islands in the region. It's overwhelming. It's a lot for them too. So don't believe it's only Grenada. But a lot of people who have not traveled and who don't follow regional and international news, all they see is Grenada. And they believe that we're printing money and we should find the money to get rid of these things all in the ocean. It can't be done that way. All right. So kudos to the government for what they're doing when it comes to the Sagazam seaweed. It will take some time, but at least they started the process. The NDC St. George Northeast Constituency Branch, the Honorable Ron Redhead, they have a cruise coming up. That cruise is on the 24th of May. 24th of May is very soon. That's a Saturday. All right? Saturday, 24th of May. It's the Rum Runner 2. So that cruise is on Rum Runner 2. Boarding time 7 p.m. And they have tickets. Tickets are available. It's $75 a one. $75 a one. And you can get it at the NDC Constituency Branch office in Mongay. That's the Honorable Ron Redhead's office in Mongay. So you can check them out. All right. And then you have, there's another constituency having something. All right. I think they sent it for me. All right. I think they sent it for me last night. So let me just give them a little throughout. So the St. Andrew, the NDC Southwest branch, the St. Andrew Southwest branch of the NDC presents a happy hour Friday, the 16th of May. So that's this coming Friday. All right. The 16th of May at the Grenville Car Park from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. this coming Friday. They have a happy hour there. The Honorable Lennox Andrew and his team, they have that happy hour there at the Grenville Car Park. All right. So let me see here. There's another person who sent me something for another constituency. Right, the Fundy. The St. Andrew Southeast branch of the NDC. That's the Honorable David Andrew. So they have a fun day coming up and grand raffle draw Saturday the 17th. So that's the day after St. Andrew, well, the Honorable Lennox Andrew having his event. So Saturday the 17th of May, starting at 10 a.m. and going until 8 p.m. at the Hope Playing Field. They have win ball competition is also a part of that. All right. If you're interested, call 410-5068. 410-5068. So they have music and also drinks and eats on sale. All right. So support them. Well, you know about the Carriacou trip. The Carriacou trip that will take place on June the 21st. So June the 21st, Saturday, June the 21st, we're going up to Carriacou. We have tickets. They're going pretty fast, but we have tickets, $100 for one. So you could, pull your group together, pull your friends together, your family, whoever, pull them together and come on up with the Osprey on June the 21st. New York. We will be in New York on the 31st, the last day in this month, Saturday, 31st of May, at the Backyard, 618 East 87th Street. Music, food, drinks. The vibes will be nice there. For a donation of $40, you can get your tickets, and tickets are now available. All right. So Rockin' G has tickets. Kenneth, well, I call him Tweet. That's Kennedy Phillip, but that's Tweet. He has tickets. The Real Meat, he has tickets. My aunt, Catherine Peters, she has tickets. And other people. Glenroy Patelli has tickets, and other people, they have tickets. All right. Norma Joseph, she has tickets. A number of people. All right. Yeah. So plenty people out there, they have tickets. Hey, Bones, or say bye. That's my cousin, back to the Bones. All right. We pull up cam right nice. So I'm back to the Bones. Looking forward to seeing you, my good cousin. Baby Lou, or say I saw your father yesterday. All right. I saw Bog yesterday. So we have tickets. So if you need tickets, you can call at me. I can give you the numbers and you can pick up the tickets out there in New York. And quite a number of other people, they have tickets. A donation of 40 US, you can get the tickets. And you know, that event is get towards raising some funds for my new radio station and studio. All right. And that's well on its way. We purchased the land, we excavated, we bought quite a bit of the materials to do the building. So, to cover labor and other things like that, we need some cash. All right. So quite a bit is on its way where that is concerned. And then I'm celebrating 11 years in talk radio too in May. And the government of Grenada will be celebrating 3 years. NDC, 3 years in power. So quite a bit to celebrate about. The Honorable Ron Redhead will be with me. He will be at that event. And the Honorable Ian Thomas will be at that event. And your humble servant, Kem Jones, will be there. So looking forward to seeing you. All right. So if you need tickets, you're out there in New York, holler at me or any one of those individuals if you know them. But if you want their numbers, you want to pick up the tickets, you can get that there. Hello? Good morning. Hi, good morning. No, when you come down to Tong, you won't get the tickets. All right? Yeah, and then you come in Tong, you on your sweetheart, you won't get the tickets. All right. Nice. Yeah, good partner. Yeah, when you come to Tong, you won't get the tickets because you know where I'm normally at Ricky's Bar there in Tong. So today I will drop off some tickets at Ricky's Bar for the Carriacou trip. Folks, I want to wish you all the best. Take it care and bye for now. Bye for now.